money, Jordan Belfort. Stacking penny stocks while I'm flipping these birds. Sipping on Ciroc, trip 'em up with the words. I done popped the Molly and I think it's be my third.
What is going on, Degen Nation? Kenny Kim here, bringing you another Fantasy Golf Degenerates podcast, sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. As usual, I am here with everybody's favorite South African, Byron Lindeque. I had to pause there for a second. My bad. I'm still getting used to it. I'm still getting used to it. Byron, what is up, my friend? How are you, brother?
Everybody's just on eggshells to start the show, Kenny. It's like, is it going to be Tambo? Is it going to be Byron?
It might be like this for a little bit of time. Like I said last week, I've done this for like 300 episodes with Tyler, so it's tough to get that out of your head. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you know what, Kenny? You're going to mess it up at some point. I think you probably just got to do it sooner than later, but you know what? We'll take it as we go. You know what? Of all weeks, it's the Byron Nelson this week. This is me. You know, this is my tournament. We can't mess it up this week. So looking forward to it.
CJ Cup's a Korean sponsor with your name. This is our shit right here. Yeah, our shit. Yeah,
this is our jam. Yeah. Let's go.
All right. So last week, pretty shit event. Not my favorite, but you know, we did our thing. It was hilarious because, you know, I didn't roster a single golfer inside the top 10. Won money. Money.
Wow.
I didn't roster a single golfer down. Granted, all four of my cash game cornerstones were like 11th, and like 15th or something like that, right? So, and they were the only four that made the cut in my cash lineup. Cash for these. So that's probably why it happened. And I won like 50 bucks out of like 200 when it came down to GPBs. So the cash helped me. But still, like, you know, it's crazy. I didn't have a single golfer in the top 10 in my cash line. And it's still won with these. I was 4 of 6. Weird week. Rory and Lowry did their thing. I mean, if they lost to, I don't even remember who was in the fucking playoff.
Trainer and Rainey.
They probably had to retire.
Yeah.
They were going to be like, we're done. You know what I'm saying? They had to do what they had to do. I mean, I guess the other team chunked the shot. I really didn't watch on Sunday. I watched early in the week because, you know, my squad's doing good. Like, I had, like, a bunch of guys, like, in the top 5 after the first day. The top 2 were 2 bets that I had.
Your Duffy champ?
Good. What's up?
Your Duffy champ squad was, like, right up in the mix early. They did not mess it up.
Yo, my best team was Charlie Hoffman, Nick Watney.
Nick Watney.
My cash game cornerstone punt. They were the highest finishing team I had in my whole entire pool, right? And it was like, people asked me, like, why would you roster these guys, right, in cash? They were the best. I mean, what can I say? They helped out. They did really well. I mean, those guys, when it comes to that event, I feel like if you play together multiple times and you've done well all those multiple times, I feel like that's a good advantage. That's like pretty easy. Like, let me choose you, right? Even though Nick Watney and Hoffman's not horrible this year. Well, Watney's just been gone, right? He hasn't been a face on tour except for events like these for a couple of years now. He had some troubles, if I remember, about his game. And you know, for them to go out and do what they do, pretty impressive stuff. But I mean, it's because they're comfortable with each other. They know how each other's games are. They've played together in the state like 4 or 5 times. So I think that's something to really focus on. I mean, if you're doing like non-elite guys like Rory and Lowry and Aaron play together, but they're elite golfers, you know what I'm saying? It should work for them. But when you're looking for those scrubs in this tournament, I think, you know, guys will play together and will do well. It's pretty simple stuff. How would you think of the week?
Kenny, I had 55% exposure to Rory and Lowry. I had them in more than half my lineups, but I had 40+% of Sahith. Was it the Zalagala? I had that team 45%. I can't believe I never said that at all last week. You know, like I would have been rattling off Zalagalas all week had I thought about it, but shows you how much I actually gave a shit before I actually got into content that week. But them and Hoagie and Mav, I had too much. I had 40% of those two, and I pretty much had them in every single lineup outside, you know, with the Rory kind of thing, and it just didn't work out for me. You know, I was close, but just those two needed to make the cut for me, and then I would have been firing, but you know, too much missed out on those two really unfortunate finishes there. But it's some nice matchups, you know, things like that. It's all good time. But kind of just
it was first week for me in 6 weeks where I didn't hit either an outrider in each way, but I'm not counting that shit because it's a fucking team competition. It doesn't count.
Yeah.
I'm not counting.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on to this week and still have the streak intact in my mind. Personally, on the go ahead.
Yeah,
What's up?
that's it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Right?
This is such a
alive.
shit show.
Streak is still alive. Now, personally, what I did this weekend is I went and played a lot of golf. Friday, I actually found out that I got rid of my yips. Like I was hitting it well, right? And I've been waiting for this moment to buy new irons. So I went, got fitted, spent like $1,800, got myself the new TaylorMade P790s. Can't wait to use them. Also, I got a push cart, a really nice one, because I'm going to walk 9 holes minimum 3 days a week as part of my exercise routine. As you can tell, my ass is getting super fat, the biggest I've ever been in my life. I'm about 260 pounds. Usually, I've been 200 to 220 pounds from age 16 to 40, right? And I was somewhere in between 200 and 220. In those years, for the majority of those years, I was a server. So I was walking 15,000, 20,000 steps a day, which kept my weight down. And in the first 2.5, 3 years that I started this new desk job, I've gained 45 pounds. So, I hate working out. I hate doing all that stuff. I am slowly changing my diet, but I need to find some exercise that I enjoy. So got all my new clubs, got the driver last year, got the new set of irons, got new wedges, got the cart. We're going to start tomorrow after work, walking 9 holes to the club across the street. So that's what I'm going to do for my exercise. I know you played a lot in college, right? Didn't you play college?
Kenny, I was probably when I was walking lots and lots of golf in college, I was 190, 195. So now I weighed myself this morning because I knew we were going to chat about this, 252. So 252? I picked up, I'm a big one. I'm a thick kid, I can.
You don't look as big as I do, like on the camera in front of me.
No, I'm not good. I'm got
like the long, thin face. I got like the fat, humongous, wide face. That's why I can't eat beard. Like if I didn't have the beard, the neck fat would just be out of control.
But I'm there. You can see I'm 250, but put me at fullback and I'm taking care of business. You're not gonna.
All right, Tim.
I've got a lot going on in the motor zone down behind the cheeks there, so that's pretty much where most of my weight is. So what? 510 pounds.
When you played in college, were you allowed to use push carts?
Yes, but you also look like a giant pussy if you walked around with a push cart. You gotta nut up and carry that bag around. It's got your name on it. You got to carry it.
I'm old enough where I don't give a fuck if I look like a pussy.
Yes, now is a different situation. My back's all jacked up. We're okay. I don't even push cart or carry anymore. It's just golf cart and drinking beer. So I
have not walked playing golf in 25 years.
Yes,
since college. Where Virginia Tech had a course on campus, and you could play for like $12. So I had to play like every day.
Yeah,
I just skipped class, and I just play golf.
I know.
$12. $12. Yeah. All right, 18-hole course, $12.
That's
playing every day.
You can't not. That's how it goes. So yeah, 9 holes, Kenny, every 3 times a week. I'll try and do 27 walking as well. If I'm playing, I'll be walking. Let's do this I'll do it with you, man. Let's see what we're currently 512 pounds.
262.4 pounds right now.
Okay, so let's go 515 because I'm 252. So let's just call it. Let's round up to what's that? Doing some easy, quick math here. It's 515 pounds total. Let's see what this podcast gets to. Yeah, we're a heavy set pod. So
yeah, heavy set. Yeah,
I'm
hoping by the end of the season this year. Let's say by President's Cup, I want to lose at least 30 pounds. I want to be like 230 or less.
Yeah, because if we can get to that, would be total 450. I would say is a solid goal for us. I'll be tuning in with you. Let's try and get this thing done. I've got my bicycle. Obviously, I'll be doing tons and tons of biking as well because that's also nice and easy on the knees and all that.
Don't know how to ride a bike.
Done. You don't know how to ride a bicycle?
How to ride a bike. Like never learned. Never had one as a kid. Will never learn. We'll never have one. It's what it comes down to. The only time in my life where I needed a bicycle was when I went to Amsterdam. And that wouldn't have been great anyway because I was so stoned and high the entire time I was there. I would have wrecked and died. And I think it's pretty easy to get fucked up in Amsterdam on those bike lanes. Like I got drilled. Like it took me a long time to walk on those sidewalks before people started stop digging at me, ding, 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 with their bike because I would just be walking in the middle of the sidewalk like a normal person. The middle of the sidewalks. Their bikes. Didn't realize that.
Yeah.
But I would say that would be the only time in my life where I felt like I needed a bicycle to get around, because me and my boys, the two boys I was with, they're sort of pissed. And they could have had to walk everywhere.
That's the smart way, to do it. Yeah.
All right. So before anything else on last week, what about LIV? Did you watch any of LIV?
No, it's such. Okay. It's like
you're not a LIV guy. I'm not a LIV guy either. Okay, I'm not a LIV guy either.
But I'm a Cam Smith guy. So
okay, yeah, you got a Cam Smith guy. But
it just goes to show.
Hey, I didn't really want to watch this team shit, so I had LIV on, right? And I was like, oh my god! Like when I first started watching, a couple of years ago, it was horrible. Horrible. Like the technology, even though they showed a shit ton of shots, it was just horrible, sporadic. Like and then even last year when I watched, it was still the same. The coverage wasn't great. The thumbnails, the scoreboard, all that stuff, it wasn't great. I watched this weekend. It legit seemed like a normal golf tournament with just more shots and less commercials. And I know the commercials, we can't do shit about those, right? The PGA, the CBS, NBC, they got to make their money. I understand that. And that does make the coverage suck, but there's not much we can do about that. What they can do is try and make the coverage, at least the TV coverage itself, a little bit better. Like what you see on LIV is you see a shot, they talk about it for like 4 seconds, you go to the next shot. Talk about it for like 3 seconds, you go to the next shot. Talk about it for 12 seconds, you go to the next shot. Like those seconds are enough to explain what's going on. But instead, what I saw on the Zurich? I saw 35 seconds of Nick Taylor looking for something in his bag. Like almost a minute of Nick Taylor just looking in his bag. Like, why? Why? Show a shot. Why are you showing this? Why? Like, what help does that do for me watching the golf tournament? What does it do? It's the biggest fucking waste of time there is. There's so many different wastes in the PGA coverage. Like, okay, I love the PGA. It's my squad. That's how we do our thing, right? But they got to fucking at least get better. If LIV is going to do something, it has to improve the PGA's TV coverage. We're going to have to realize they're looking, when you're watching both, you're like, what the fuck? It's not even the same fucking sport when you watch both at the same time. I'm never going to switch to LIV full time, ever. But I mean, damn, the coverage is so much better. And I'm not talking about commercials. I'm talking about the actual coverage when it's on. Like, why does CBS and NBC waste so much goddamn time? Like, I don't want to see a guy lining up a putt for a minute and a half. Show like 10 more shots. What the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Why? Make it better. I'm sweating over here. You're making me so fucking angry. Just get better. It can't be that difficult. Show more shots. Like, I don't understand.
I can see it on a Sunday, Kenny. Like trying to build a narrative.
Drones now, right? They have drone cameras, right? Why not just put a drone over some fucking hole and show that hole?
And they're trying to speak.
Can't be that expensive. They're trying to see that expensive. You're not even having a man the camera. It's a drone. Figure it out.
Someone's got to fly the drone, Kenny, though. It's not like an AI drone situation, but I'm with you 1,000%. If I'm watching 4 shots with 0 Jim Nance or Trevor Immelman speaking, I'm cool with that. Just let me see the golf shots. I get it on a Sunday. They've gone a little overboard. I'm just also saying some stuff here just to keep that heart at bay. We're not as nearly sexy as we want to be yet. We can have more rants like this later on in the year when we're a bit healthier. That was getting borderline there, Kenny. Like that. You can chalk that down as like 2 holes of a workout right there. That was quite something.
Right now.
I know.
Yelling at my mic and sweating right now.
Let's chill out. It's just a broadcast. Everything's going to be okay. Let's get into Byron Nelson, CJ Cup, baby.
All right. Before we get into that, let's do our Underdog Fantasy segment. We are sponsored by Underdog. Let's go over our Underdog plays for this week. So my plays. Now, I made these before Byron told me there could be some weather on Thursday. So, again, I don't check the weather. I probably should check the weather if I'm going to do these bets on Monday, right? But whatever. So what I did this week is I figured this is one of the easiest courses on tour, right? Top 5 easiest course on tour. And like they were putting numbers of like 69, like lower than 69, lower than 68.5. I'm like, for like guys that I love this week. So what I did was Benny Ann lower than 68 strokes. I think he can win. Okay. Tom Hoagie lower than 68.5 strokes. I think he can contend. Right. Keith Mitchell lower than 69 strokes. I already bet him. So that's what I'm doing. It's about 4.8 multiplier. So once again, Benny Ann lower than 68 strokes. Tom Hoagie lower than 68.5 strokes. Keith Mitchell lower than 69 strokes for the first round of Underdog Fantasy. Pays out almost 5 times. Go ahead and put that in. And here's the thing, like, I expect these numbers to drop quickly. Because, like, I mean, okay, maybe if the win is true. We're going to 6 o'clock on Monday, right? Yeah. Maybe the win is true. Maybe it's not on Thursday. We don't know, right? But if we get closer, the thing is, like, you might want to take that jump because they have, like, 69s out there for guys that I think are going to do well, right? And it's a par 71. The easiest course, like, in the fucking tour. Like, those numbers are going to drop, especially for the popular plays. Get on them now. Yeah. Okay. Who's your little parlay? Your not parlay. Your underdog threesome.
By the way, I would have taken, if the wind stays fine and these guys go off nice and early before the wind gets up or something, I would take that as a par 72. Like, we must remember this last year was the first year that the course jumped from 72 to 71. Mm-hmm. And before I checked the weather, I sent through the exact same guys as you, Kenny. I sent Keith and Benny on for the unders of the score. And then I checked the weather and I was like, maybe I'm going to pedal back here a bit. So I went lowers than or negative game script here. So Jason Day lower than 5.5 birdies. Jordan Spieth higher than 67 strokes. That's 4 under par. And then we've got Will Zalatoris higher than 67.5. Those 67s are pretty tricky. I was taking a peek at some past weather trends. The moment the wind gets up into double digits over the last little while, last year, the scoring average when the wind was at 12 and 14 miles an hour in the morning and the afternoon, the scoring average was only 1.2 under par. Yes, there's some bad golf out there being played, but the scores really only started getting lower over the weekend once the weather, like the wind died into the single digit situations. Anytime we've seen wind up in the double digits, it really hasn't got less than -2 under par so far. So I'll feel kind of comfortable there with those kind of scores. Spieth's due to make some dumbass decision and make a double somehow and like do that kind of stuff. Willie's
hard to make a double on this course, though. So hard.
It is.
It's hard to make a double on this course.
Kenny, this is Jordan Spieth we're speaking about.
I know.
Like, he makes
We're going to talk about it because I don't know what to do.
So hard.
We're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
So before we get into that, let's have a word from our sponsor. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. I personally like the Pick'em games. Pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. Can win up to 100 times your money in a single night. Pick between 2 and 5 players to build a Pick'em entry. Can also make rivals picks, which pits 2 players against each other. Now, the reason I like the Pick'em games is because of these things called scorchers. There's these little chili peppers next to the golfers' names, and if you click on that, it adds to your multiplier, so you can win even more money. Sign up today with promo code Mayo and get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant Pick'em special. Must be 18 or over and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. All right, we're back. So let's go over this week for the CJ Cup, Byron Nelson. Let's go over a little bit. Let's go over the course. The PGA Tour heads back to Texas for the Byron Nelson Classic, or the CJ Cup. Byron Nelson from TPC Craig Ranch. This is the fourth time the tour has played here. A couple of years ago, it was like 26 and 25 under, won the first couple of years. And that was a par 72. Last year with a par 71, they moved, like Byron said, they moved that par 5 to a long par 4, made it a par 71. Jason Day went at -23. Not that big of a difference when it comes down to it. Just a couple of strokes less. And these guys are so good, I would not be surprised if it's back up to the mid -25, depending on the wind, like Byron said. Now, the course was, like I said, the course was a pushover. Hold on. So, the course was a pushover each year during the first 2 rounds. The leader after round 1 at high single digits to low double digit under par. The leaders were like double digit under par. after the first couple of days. And so the only thing that can really hold scoring in check on this course is the wind. Looking at the forecast and conditions this week, we can expect another birdie fest similar to the last 3 years. I would think, even with 12 to 14 mile per hour winds, I don't think that's enough to make this go like under 20 under. I don't. Now, if the gusts go up to like 30 and if it goes up to like 15 to 20, then maybe. But if it's under 15 miles per hour, in my opinion, I think there's going to be golfers out there who it's not going to affect that much, and we're still going to see 20 under plus win this event. Now, the course should be soft. They always water the course in between rounds, all 3 years. So, to keep the course soft, they keep the greens receptive. So I think, we're going to see low scores once again. That's what we need. Now, TPC Craig Ranch, 7,400 plus yard par 71, 3 par 5s, 4 par 3s. The course used to be a par 72. Like I said, they shortened the par 5 12th, about 50 yards, and made it a long par 4. Now there are going to be half the par 4s are fairly long, measuring between 450 and 500 yards. These will be some of the most difficult holes on the course, along with the 3 par 3s over 200 yards. Again, the most difficult holes on the course is relative, right? They aren't going to be that hard. But what you do see is you will see a good amount of long irons at this event, even though it's easy, which is strange, right? You normally think about events that have massive long iron play to be difficult, but everything is so straightforward and monotone on this course that it's easy for these guys. And the greens are like 7,000 square feet, so they're gonna hit the greens. Now, there are a couple of shorter par 4s, which could be drivable off the tee. The par 5s look to be gettable, with only one reaching the 570-yard mark. Now, off the tee, golfers will see generous rolling fairways with light surrounding rough that have some trees and a bunch of bunkers in play. Water is in play on about 13 holes, but we're not talking about like Florida water. A creek runs through the majority of the course, so golfers will have to really miss their spots to get wet. Also, the trees aren't that close to the edge of the fairways and are sporadic in nature, which leads me to believe that accuracy off the tee not going to be a huge part, but distance could be a factor. Now, one quirk to the fairways is the zoysia grass that covers them. It's more prevalent in Australia and Asia, and often leads to flyers for those without experience on them. Have you played on zoysia? Did you play a bunch of zoysia in South Africa?
Kenny, I didn't know what grass I was playing on, and I was, playing good. I just didn't even know different grass was a thing, dude. It's just like, I've learned so much doing this golf
you're a
and
kid,
stuff.
You're there, right? So you're in your teens. You're not thinking about that.
Yeah,
right?
you're worrying about other grass instead of, zoysia grass.
No shit, right? The courses on tour that have zoysia grass are TPC Southwind and Eastland. Now, on approaches, golfers will see above average size bent grass greens. Bunkers will be in play, but we'll probably see a very high green in regulation for the week unless the wind picks up. The green speeds look to be around 11 to 11.5 on the stip. They water the greens daily because that's what they do. That's what they've done at this event for all 3 years. Overall, strong iron play, especially from 175 to 200 plus, high birdie or better percentage, and putt luck on bent grass. That's going to be your keys to success. I don't think short game's too much to worry about. You're looking for birdie makers. Length is going to help, but it's not going to be the end-all be-all. What are you looking for exactly?
Kenny, I'm just going to dilute it or concentrate it a bit better for us there and just go, I've ramped up my birdie or better percentages. I've ramped up my easy scoring conditions, and I've ramped up good shot percentage from those, specific distances you mentioned. Good shots is when you're gaining over half a stroke on a single approach shot. I want guys knocking it stiff. I want it close. I want to give you a really good, I want you to lose half a stroke putting if you miss the shot, miss that putt. I want you to be close. I want you to give yourself opportunity after opportunity. I don't want guys knocking it safely, middle of the green all the time. That's, there's some guys like Russell Henley, Scotty Scheffler. I mean, Scotty's a weird example, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I'm looking for guys to be really aggressive. I would say it's probably more so on the iron front there. Course history doesn't matter. And we're seeing we can chat about this. We're seeing some ownership and odds reflect course history in a very big way. And it's going to be fun kind of fading those guys because this course is such a crapshoot. To get to 22 under par, Kenny, you got to make so many putts, like you said. And that's not going to be anyone's cup of tea any given week. Anyone can make that amount of putts when you're given that many opportunities. So embrace that volatility.
All right. Well, before we get to these tiers, let's have a word from our new sponsor. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. We all carry around different stressors, big and small. Personally, for me, it's work. I'm an estimator. I have to win jobs so people don't get fired underneath me, right? And it definitely causes me stress on a daily basis. When we keep these things bottled up, it can start to affect us negative. Therapy is a safe space to get things off your chest and to figure out how to work through whatever's weighing you down. For example, it's helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who have experienced major traumas. If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/fantasygolf today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/fantasygolf. All right, so let's get to these tiers here. Byron, let's look at this top 10K range. Is this going to be the lowest owned 10K range so far that we've seen this year? Will it be contrarian to play guys in the 10K range?
Yes. I built a view already, and I just wanted to click everyone, get 2 or 3 guys in the 9s and 8s, immediately. Yeah. There's so many similar options that you can pivot to in the 9s that the 10s is going to be, because there's a lot of scar tissue up there, boy. Jordan's broken some hearts the last little while at 10-9. J Day, who the heck knows what he's doing at 10-4. And then Willie Z at a birdie fest. Yes, it's a long iron birdie fest, but at a birdie fest nonetheless.
Yeah, Willie Z, give me Willie Z on difficult courses. Yeah. Jason Day, who the fuck knows? But last year, he was in much better form coming into this event. He's 130th in the field in the last 24 rounds in stroke gain approach. In this field. 130th in this field.
Yeah.
In the last 24 rounds. And then you got Spieth. Who the fuck knows what's going to happen? I'm thinking about playing Spieth because, he's become a guy where you normally just play him now at courses where he's had success. He has not had success on this course. You just don't play, right? And this is, of course, he's had success now. He's had success in Heritage. He played well there. He won Heritage. Missed the cut by a lot last time. So his form is horrible. But if we're going to get him at 10%, I don't know. I have no idea what the fuck the ownership's going to be. I've never seen this type of setup where no one's going to play anyone in the 10K range. It's weird. I don't know what's going to happen when it comes to it. But if he's 10, less than 10, I'm not certain. Just for upside on a guy who can, I think, maybe take this course down. Because, it does mute his biggest weaknesses, but it doesn't really give him his biggest strengths either. Because, his biggest weakness is off the tee, right? For the most part, it's sporadic. He's wild off the tee. It causes him trouble. His best part is his short game and finding ways to save holes, right? You can't save holes here. You have to birdie holes, right? So it's weird for Spieth. Are you going to let anybody up here?
Yes, I guess it's all ownership dependent, I guess, is a very cute way to put it there, Kenny. Is Spieth to me is always, I never want to ride that chalk. When everyone's on the Spieth roller coaster, I want to be watching them. When no one's on the Spieth roller coaster, I want to be the only one throwing up all over myself, just wondering why I'm here. That's my rule for Spieth.
Let's say it's 15 Spieth, 10 Zalatoris, 5 Jason Day. Percentage, ownership, who you playing?
I'll probably go to J Day. I feel like he's right. They all good. They're all playing shit any given week, between the two of them. So it could be anybody. Give me the ownership play at the top there. They priced at this price for a reason. They've got some good results, but like you mentioned, it's been a while for Spieth to kind of do anything substantial lately. But in Texas, Jordan's pretty darn good, and I think, Kenny, if the winds blow, that's what gives Spieth a bit of creativity, lights the brainstem up a little bit, so to speak, and just see what happens there. So give me some Spieth if he's affordably owned. The price tag's fine. I'll take that all day, especially at this golf course. So, yeah, I'll play some Spieth, but it's all We'll see how full the roller coaster
It's
gets.
going to be. So here's the problem: like the 9K range, I love everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know who not to play. Now, here's the thing. First off, I'll go over my first 2 cash game cornerstones. First, it's going to be Hollywood Tom Hoagie, right? Pretty simple here. The best iron player in this field. He hits it well with his longer irons. If you look at easy courses with bet grass, I mean, he's probably, when it comes to strokes gained total, he's 6th in this field. In the last 24 to 50 rounds played on easy bet grass courses. So it seems pretty simple to me. Starting with Hollywood Hoagie, the price is right, $9,100, simple, starting with him. Second one's going to be Tom Kim. Tom's showing me something the last couple, 30th at the Masters, 18th at the Heritage. His iron game is strong. And again, when you look at easy courses with bent grass greens, he's number 1 in my model in strokes gained total from either 24 or 50 rounds. So I'm going to go with him. Hopefully, his upward mobility keeps tracking, right? Now, here's the thing that I think I don't know what to do with, because everybody in this 9K range seems like they're going to be extraordinarily popular. Now you can make now Sung Jae. He pops, right? But he's flying in from Korea. He just won in Korea. The last time he did this, and he sucked ass, right? He won an event earlier this year. Yeah. He won an event either earlier this year or last year. I don't remember, in Korea. Flew back, played the next week, sucked, right? Yeah. It could have just been a 1 week thing. Sample size is small, right? But the guy, I think he's going to get some work. I've already heard Adam Scott. I've had people write up Minwoo Lee already. People loving Benny Ann. People loving Jaeger, right? Norin.
Yes.
Norin's the pivot.
Yep.
Norin is the pivot in the 9K range. He, in my opinion, I am not an ownership guru, right? But I think he will be the lowest owned in the 9K range. And when you look at his numbers on easy bent grass courses, number 4 in my model on easy bent grass courses. Now, again, everyone could be seeing this too, and his ownership could shoot up. I don't know. I'm guessing here. Not an ownership guru, but to me, looking at it, I think he could probably be, it's either going to be him or Minwoo, right?
Yes. I think Minwoo will likely be the least. I don't see Minwoo being very high owned at this price on this kind of a course. Like he's a scrappy.
I don't know, man. I'd rather have Minwoo on this type of course where he can just drive wherever the fuck he wants, right? And hopefully he gets hot with his putter. Because, I don't like him on like tight places. I don't like, because his driver, he hits the ball far. He pounds that motherfucker. He can shake it both ways. But the thing is, like, it's not that accurate, right? He can get himself in a lot of trouble when he misses.
Well, that's the thing, right? Because the misses, are the big misses are going to eat you alive, because then you're in trouble.
You got to really miss big.
Yeah.
You got to really miss big.
Him and Spieth can miss
as
big as any. When you're in Texas, no one misses bigger than those boys. So
yeah, that's true. So you don't have to worry about that. I would still go with Norin over Minwoo if it's coming down to the lowest owned pivot play in the 9K range.
Yeah, I'm seeing Norin's very impressive. Apparently, he's just doing some really, really good work there. The thing with Norin though is
he's just never highly owned.
Top 5 percentage also, Kenny, is about as low as his ownership. It's unfortunately not quite there. I think that's. I'm seeing it at 8%, like everyone above him. I'm seeing like Will Zalatoris, Jason Day, Jordan Spieth. They're all sitting double-digit top 5s.
But those guys are a different league. What about the ones directly next to him?
Yes, directly next to him, Minwoo Lee he's got 12%. Benny Arndt, 17% top 5s. Like Benny's like he pops.
Well, in how long and what type of time span?
The last 12 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just a nice, decent sample size there.
Yeah.
But then you get guys like Tom Hoagie, who hasn't got a single top 5, but he's got a million top 20s. You're getting all these different kind of profiles of golfers that are in your player pool, and it's at $9,100 is an abundance of top 20s, much better than a lack of top 5s. Does that change your opinion when you get into the top 10s? Do you want more upside when you're paying that much? That's why I'm a big fan of just going to Tom Hoagie as like a top 20 bet and then leaving him alone, because he's always just inside the top 20, never not quite doing enough to get inside the top 5, and that's what you need if you're playing these big tournaments. So,
in cash, you don't necessarily need that. And so
Cash,
he's
different situation.
he's definitely going to be in my cash lineup. I think a top 15, top 20, top 10 would be fine from him.
That's
As long as
exactly
some of
it.
the other guys step up, that's going to be in the lineup.
Cool. Yeah. So
Now, so who else do you like in this range? I know you have I know you got some bets on what Benny Ann and some others already in this range.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. So let's do Byron's Babalas bets, or we can call it Byron's Babalas biscuits. Babalas in South Africa is a severe hangover. If you've got a Bobby the next day, you've done a good job on Friday night, Saturday night, potentially a Thursday, Puza Thursday down there as well. So that's going to be the South African word for the day, is the Babalas. Hangover Central, Fantasy Golf Degenerates, we know all about that. So that's these are my bets for the Babalas boys, which are going to be top 40 parlays. So we're going to go Benny On for top 40. We're going to go Siwoo Kim, top 40, Adam Scott, and Bo Hassler. If I filter over the last 12 months, those are all guys that are averaging about a 59% top 40 rate. So the odds are going to be pretty negative, but it gets you to about plus 650 depending on where you go. Parlaying those all together, you have to parlay them in the top 40s. You can't. I wanted to do Adam Scott top 20 because he top 20s. Adam Scott, whenever he finishes inside the top 20, he's doing it like 71% of the times. He's finishing inside the top 40. He's inside the top 20, if that makes sense. Like there's certain guys that just when they're finishing inside the top 20, it's a top 10 almost guaranteed. Like always. Some guys. Like Siwoo, like Tom Hoagie, lots of top 20s, minimal top 10s, top 5s. So fun ways to find guys to bet like this. It's in my model over at rotoballer.com. But Siwoo, Adam Scott, Benny On, Bo Hassler, those are my 4 Babalas boys to get us across the line there for top 40 at about plus 650, depending where you go. So we'll see what they can get up to.
So I really like Jaeger and I really like On, right? And I think a lot of people are really going to like those guys too. They're going to be probably 2 of the most popular people. I mean, if you look at Jaeger, of course, he's the last guy to beat fucking Scotty Scheffler, and he's second in my model when it comes to strokes gained total in Bentgrass easy courses. Right? And Benny On is playing well. I think he can win this event. He hits a far away. He's been having a great season. People are going to love those 2 guys. Like I said, Norwich could pivot, but I think Adam Scott, even though he will be owned, I don't think he's going to be as heavily owned as some of these guys in the 9K range. And when you look at it, he's actually crazy. The best putter in the 9K range, right? Adam Scott.
Yes.
Not what you expect anymore, but the man has improved. The belly putter has been his shit, right? He's been very, very good at it. He leads 44, 50 rounds. Go ahead.
Leads the field in strokes gained on easy courses.
Yeah.
In this entire field. So he makes birdies, baby. Like he loves these easy jams. He's good. Good long iron player. I love, Adam Scott at this price. Let's go. I think 9,600.
Yeah, he might be the guy. Because, I don't know. I'm thinking Benny and Steven are going to be 15, 20%, maybe even more. And you can get, Scott at 10%, 12%. There's going to be maybe half of what these guys are. And I think just as much upside, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
He's incredible. So I love it. Love. And if you're looking to get a hold of Adam Scott in the betting market, top 20s, there's plus monies with ties paid in full out there. So lots to love. I mean, this dude's finishing inside the top 20 half the time. And we're getting plus money in an easy birdie fest, like in a weak field. This field is not very strong, For Jordan Spieth to be the most expensive at 10-9, the weakness of this field's paramount. So yeah. Adam Scott in a field like this, Alex Noren. If you start with those 2, Alex Noren, Adam Scott, I'm sure Tambo would be proud of kind of pairing those 2 together and just seeing what the other 4 guys you can put together with them would be, because you're already getting pretty different, I would imagine, kind of going that route. But we'll see, Kenny. We don't know where this ownership's going. This 9K range is a landmine situation. I'm a big fan, like you said, of Tom Kim, though. TPC Summerlin, Sedgefield Country Club. Those are the 3 wins he has on the PGA Tour. Those are 2 comp courses, in my opinion, particularly Summerlin. I love, like the short nature of it and the low scoring nature of TPC Summerlin at the Shriners. Tom Kim can get low, and his irons are fine, and he's putting spiky. Like if you take a look at his average putting stats, they're pretty average, but it's quite interesting to see that it's average because he's got really good weeks and really poor weeks. And that's exactly what you're looking for from a guy like Tom Kim, and $9,000 is very, very affordable for the upside he can bring you, which we haven't seen for a while, though.
Why don't you go ahead to the AK range there, Byron?
Boom. 8Ks, Keith Mitchell. If you're telling me you need distance and accuracy off the tee, like that's just going to really help you stay out of trouble. You know, I feel like he's probably a cash game play more so than another situation. Yeah, top fives for Keith Mitchell don't exist on his radar. I think a top 5 at the Amex backdoored, but Keith at 88, I can handle that. And then Maverick McNeely, $8,200. If we're speaking about someone who can light it up on the greens, we can make some birdies. Mav McNeely, baby. He's like the complete opposite of Aaron Rai. I don't want nothing to do with Rai this week. I'll go Mav McNeely and sprinkle in a little Patrick Rogers while we at it.
Yeah, Keith Mitchell's going to be my third cash game cornerstone. Just basically everything you said. Even his iron play has been exceptional here recently. In the last 24 rounds, he's third in his field and strokes gained approach. And of course, he's long. And he is really good with his longer irons. 200 plus, he's solid. I think he's very, very solid. I bet him and Tom already. I think I bet Keith at 30 with 8 places, and I have Tom at 35 with 8 places. I really do like those bets. I might add Adam Scott. I don't know. I could be a little bit overexposed. We'll see how it goes. But I do like Mitchell as my third cash game cornerstone. Rogers, I know his stats don't really show it, but he can go low. Like he randomly just go out there and just fucking go low. He's a good putter. I think that's another guy that I can get on board when it comes down. And I like Jake Knapp. He's going to be my final cash game cornerstone. A lot of people are saying that this is very close to Via Vedante, the Mexico Open. Mexico Open was like 7,400 yards, wide fairways, driver heavy, lots of long irons, and low scoring. Basically what we're seeing this week. Exactly. And of course, Jake won that event, right? So at $8,000, I sort of got to go through for him. He makes cuts too. It's not like he's like going out there and and shitting the bed if he's not in contention. He's 9 cuts. He's made 9 cuts in 11 events this season. Not bad. So I do like him. Again, another guy with good long irons, and he can make a good amount of birdies, and his iron game super strong. There's no doubt about that. So my cash game cornerstones this week, super compact when it comes to price, right? It's going to be Tom Hoge at 9,100, Tom Kim at 9,000, Killer Keith Mitchell at 8,800, and Jake Knapp at 8,000. This still leaves you 15,000 to roster the rest of your lineup. And I think there's going to be a lot of lineups like mine. Like when it comes to cat, when it comes to not even just cat, when it comes to GPP, right? There's going to be a lot of lineups like this because you don't even have to touch the 6K range by doing this, right? So if you're feeling, frisky and you want to be different, it's to avoid the 9K, right? It's avoid the 9K, basically.
Yeah.
Would be what it comes down to if you really want to be different.
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I mean, geez, it's a big range too, though. That's the thing. It's like a lot of golfers in this range. You've got 9 golfers at 9K. That's wild. So, okay, Kenny, gun to your head. Who's your 9K guy you go with then? One. Because you can't not play every single 9K guy. But who are you pairing it up with?
I have them all starred right now.
I know. This is the thing. It's so difficult.
I have them all starred right now, every single one. And I have no one started in the 10 year.
I know.
If I had to pick one, and I won't pick any of my cash game guys, I'm going to go. Shit, I don't know.
I'll say I'll go with
probably Adam Scott.
Okay, perfect.
I think he'll be right in the middle of the ownership. He won't be too high. You know what I'm saying? And I think he has a very good chance of taking this thing down. So I think Adam Scott. If it wasn't for him, it'd be Jaeger or Benny. Basically, it would be the other two options. But I think they're going to be so popular. I'm going to go with the guy who's sort of mid popular. Hopefully, we'll see how that goes. What about you? If you had to gun to your head, who are you going to pick?
I'll go Tom Kim because I think he's going to be, of this bunch, one of the lowest owned out of them all. And he's got...
Okay, I have him in cash, so that works.
1, 2.
Now, other guys...
2 more wins this entire range.
Other guys I like in the AK. Adam Shanks would have been like balling, right? Like he's inside the top 50 in the world. Like he's one of the highest ranked golfers in this field, right? I think he's like top 5 ranked golfer in this field, top 10 ranked golfer in this field. He's priced down here at what, 8,500. I think it's for this type of field. I think that price is very, very fair. So I think I can go with Shikopotamus in this range. Hubbard keeps my eye. I'll take a peek at him. But I really like my two cash game cornerstones in here. I like Knapp a lot, and I like fucking Mitchell a lot.
Yes.
Now the 7K range is where it starts thinning out a little bit. You got the course horse and Seamus Power, who's not playing very well. I don't know if he gets like super popular. I'm probably not gonna play him. Seaweed Doug Kim is another guy who pops when it comes to the model. He's had some like good weeks this year, where a couple top 20s earlier in the season. It seems like he's getting his mojo, and it was tough for him when he first came out. I mean, he was supposed to be a really pretty good star, and he come out and he's been sort of flat his first couple of seasons. But this season it seems like he's getting the rhythm. He's feeling his groove. So I like Doug Kim over here. Ben Griffin is another guy who I think can putt his way into winning this event. Another great putter.
Not the best driver of the ball either.
Yep. Kevin Yu, another guy, Mexico, played extremely well. I think he can do it again here at $7,500. Who do you like in this upper 7K range?
Cool. So this is the range where we're starting to see some guys that played with their partner last week at the Zurich. And we've seen this after the Zurich. Some guys that not necessarily winning the tournament, but who played well with their partner whose game was struggling. That's all you need to see is just a little bit of confidence in a team event. It just shows these guys, hey, I can do what I needed. It wasn't under extreme pressure like this week.
I don't think it just helps like shitty golfer or mid-level or non-elite golfers. I think it helps elite golfers too. I think you got to watch out for Rory. Well, next week at Wells Fargo and in Valhalla. After feeling that win last week at Zurich, I agree with you 100% on that narrative.
Yeah, Rory now, Masters behind him, just won this team event. We could go on a Rory run here quite nicely, and I'm all for it. We'll see how that goes. Let's add these guys right here. It's Garrick Higo, Ryan Fox. They played nicely together. They finished just outside the top 3 for me last week, missing my little placement bet there, but love what these guys can do, and particularly Ryan Fox. This guy's won on the DP World Tour, showed up to the PGA Tour, and just became the world's shittiest golfer ever. Like, just completely couldn't play golf. Now, we at least know this baseline's there for him. He can win these tournaments. Give me Ryan Fox now with this renewed Zurich confidence, we will call it. Some other options in Texas. Bo Hostler. Love what he can get up to in Texas. I know he's one of these dudes that's always on the radar for me. CT Pan. Boom, yes. He played with Kevin Yu, Yep.
Mexico.
Yes, exactly. And the Pan and Yu pairing was 3rd or 4th going into the Zurich's final round. And they shot themselves way out of it in alternate shot, which is cool, like whatever. Give me those two guys in their mix there. Ryan Palmer in Texas. Got to play Ryan Palmer in Texas. 70. Sorry, I'm diving into the low 7s now all of a sudden, but there's not a lot to be desired here for me, really. That's why that nice 8-9K easy start, Kenny, it's just that much more appealing, right? It's going to be very difficult to get away from that, and I think I'm still going to lean into it, but build slightly different and try and find maybe a 6K guy we can sneak in the mix.
There's two guys in the lower 7K, and they're both at 7,400 that I love. Penrith is one of my favorite plays this week. Again, a guy who just makes a ton of birdies, really good with his longer irons, right? And he's also I think he's like top 15 in this field in easy bent grass courses. I already bet him 90-1, 8 places. You could probably get better numbers than that. But I went for the 8 places, and so I got him there. But I love Penrith. I'm going to be owning a shit ton of them. I think he can win this event. This seems like it's suited for him, right? And I also like Peter Quest is getting a lot of run. Also at $7,500. Again, a guy who could putt his ass off, who's exceptionally good with his long irons, probably the longest golfer in this field, still gets a lot of birdies. He's another guy. And the other guy at 7,400 I was thinking at is Andrew Novak. I bet him too. I think 80-1. With 8 places each way, iron game exceptionally strong. Top 10 in this field in stroke ski and approach. He's really good with his long irons, especially 200 plus. He's second in this field from 200 plus. I love Novak this week. He might even be in my cash lineup when it comes down to it. With somebody named Taylor Penrith, maybe. Could happen. They could be there, right? So I do like that. I love your pan call. Charlie Hoffman's another guy who's just been showing up randomly, right? It's like he was sort of lost for a little bit, but this season it seems like he's gotten some of his game back. And you've seen him. I mean, he's contended in an event earlier this year. He was top 15, 11th last week at the Zurich, playing with one of the shittiest partners that anyone could play with.
Yes.
In the field last week, honestly. Like, Nick Watney has just been fucking god-awful and horrible for the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I guess the only person that could probably suck more than him would be whoever the fuck Cole played with, right? Wasn't he like 64 years old? Isn't he like an octogenarian? I don't know. He just went out there and played with. I was so random. But I feel like, often playing with a shitty-ass golfer, he's playing pretty damn well. They were killing it in best ball, and it was basically him, right? Getting all the birdies.
Yes.
So I'll go a little Charlie up in here. Now, 6K range, I'm going to let you start.
All right.
I'm starting here.
I'm going to just kind of wrap up the sevens with saying I did bet Charlie Hoffman outright as well. He plays well at courses Charlie Hoffman plays well at. If you think about the Waste Management, Kenny, where he lost in the playoff, he plays well there all the time. He plays well at these courses. He plays well at in Texas. There's no course in Texas Charlie Hoffman doesn't play well. You'd almost imagine Augusta's in Texas, but that's just neither here nor there. In the sixes, there's some options here. I think if you're looking for a ball striking guy who's potentially going to find a bit of love on the greens, Rico Hoey at $6,700.
I bet him 140 to 1. Definitely bet him with 8.
He's a freak. He's a freak ball striker, man. So all we need is a bit of putt luck from him. See what he can do. Joel Damon. He's one of these guys at $6,700. He's a safer option because his driver's not going to get him into shit. The upside's potentially a little limited there, but I'm still liking Joel Damon's ability and the vibes off the field.
10th in the field in the last 50 rounds in strokes gained total on easy bent grass courses. Dominant.
Love that. Another guy that played nicely last week is Patrick Fishburne. Him and his partner, I can't quite remember who it was. You see Patrick Fishburne's buddies with Taysom Hill from the Saints. I think they went to BYU together, apparently. But Patrick Fishburne hits it a country mile, Kenny. He hits it a long, long way. Some other options in this range. Carson Young, what's he... Just looking at his name, I don't know why $6,500. This guy should be a really good golfer, and it doesn't make any sense to me why he has this price, and it's not a formula problem. So I really actually like that price there for him. Oof. And then it starts getting real tricky, man. Rafael Campos, maybe. He's the same thing as Rico Hoey for me. At $6,300, we just got ball striking bonanza. Hope for the best. And then toss a bit of Matthew Neesmith in there. I think the comp course with the Shriners comp situation there is going to help him out a little bit too. So those are some guys I'm going to be focusing on. I'm playing single entries, 3-entry maxes this week, so not nearly doing the 150 I did last, and kind of just leaning into a few of my favorite plays this week because the 6K area is nasty.
I got a couple of guys that you didn't talk about. I do like Dahman. I like Hoey. Ryan Moore at $6,800. I know he's not the longest guy, but I think you don't have to be long as long as your long irons are good. And when it comes to Ryan Moore, top 30 in the field, 200 plus, top 10 in the field from 175 to 200 in the last 24 rounds. He's had some good success here recently, on tour. Recent form has been pretty decent. You see them, top 20s, top 30s, top 40s, doing this thing. So I don't mind him at $6,800. Chris Gotterup had a pretty good week last week at the Zurich. Again, using that type of narrative. He is one of the longest guys. I'm sorry. No. Yes, he is one of the longest guys out there. Pretty good with his longer irons. Can really putt. A guy that probably will be less than 2% on that I'm going to take a flyer on is Kevin Doherty. At $6,400. Again, long iron, solid, long off the tee, really good putter. Well, we'll see if he can get hot when it comes down to it. Anybody else that we missed coming down to this?
I'm not going to name any more names, but I'm just going to mention Korn Ferry Tour options are potentially guys that could be very low owned and are very used to going low. The majority of these Korn Ferry Tour events are these birdie fests that are kind of like this. I would imagine this is kind of a Korn Ferry field. There's no Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy. I mean, it's really only Jordan Spieth playing in his local, kind of event that's going to scare these guys off. So these Korn Ferry Tour guys, we could see a few of them making their name this week, and I think, they're gonna do their thing. So
yep, another one guy I missed, Callum Tarrant. Him and David Foreskin, they played pretty well last week. I do like him. He's also like top 15. I think he's 11th in strokes gained total on easy bentgrass courses. Last 24 rounds. Not bad. So I could throw a little Calentarum on there to see, again, 3% owned.
Yeah.
One of those type of guys down there. All right. So one and done. I think we've forgotten to do that here recently. I'm going to go Penrith. I just have a feeling about Taylor. I think he's going to win something soon. This seems like it could be the perfect event for him. I like Taylor Penrith. He's probably who I'm going to go with. We'll see. I am now third in the Slider Cup, which is the one that's which is the one and done that's run by some guys who are friends with the Sports Junkies radio show in the DC area. They're the number one sports radio show in the DC area. The guy from the Sports Junkies who's in the league, he's like third to last, Jason Lurch. And so the reason I got into this league is because I'm friends with one of these guys on the radio show, John Allville, who's his name's Cakes, right? And so a couple of years ago, I was talking to him, and he said he's been in this league for years, and he just sucks, right? So I ended up doing all the picks for him in that league, and he finished in the money for the first time ever.
Let's go.
He finished in the money for the first time ever. And so these guys have talked about me a little bit on their show, and now they've invited me. Now the guy who runs the league invited me to the league. So I moved up to third place. So it's pretty. I think the buy-in was like $300, and there's probably like 60 teams. So it's not like it's cheap. There's some money in here. So I'm trying to do good. Trying to do good. Also, I'm now like 400th in the Mayo Cup, winning back to back. So shit's going pretty good with this one and done all of a sudden. When I was in last place in like both leagues in like 6 weeks ago. Right? Okay. So it's been solid. Who do you like?
I'm going to go. The thing is, I don't know who I've already played, but just for this show, I'm going to go with Benny On.
Okay.
He's a little bit of a chalky play situation here, but the upside is just, it's too much for me to ignore. And, I'm hoping, at the CJ Cup, we've got a lot of CJ ambassadors here, Kenny. The Asians.
It's funny. I didn't even wear a hat today. Like the one day where I've worn the CJ Cup hat, like every day for like the last 2 months since I've gotten it, 3 months, didn't even wear it. Had to show off my haircut. You know what?
Might I add, wonderful haircut, Kenny. Looking amazing. I mean, you're already looking 230 to me. So just keep getting haircuts, and that cuts up a few pounds there quite quickly. So yeah,
I don't know, man. Every time I cut my hair short, I think my face looks bigger. Like
it was bigger, but definitely more.
I have the biggest face in the world. Like the beard is like a savior right here.
Yeah, and the stash.
Like all this is
fat.
Fat.
That's sneaky.
And you would be able to see it. Like
just
like,
we need to know. Yeah,
like a turkey. Anyways, bets. Byron,
bets.
We got.
Okay, so for my outrights, Benny On. So what I've been doing is going over to Bet365. They have this each way extra that you can get some really nice outright odds, but you have to buy it at the each way as well for 3 places only.
Oh, and 3 places.
3 places. Kenny, the amount of runner-ups I've had this year already, Benny On twice.
All my each ways are like 5th through 8th. I gotta go 8 places. Yeah.
I'm at top 2. Give me top 2 and give me Benny On at 45.
I had 2 runner-ups in the back-to-back weeks. I had Cam Young and I had Detry back-to-back. But other than that, it's been all like 5th and 8th places for the other 6 each ways I've had in the last 6 weeks. I mean, 8 each ways in the last 6 weeks.
This is delightful. We're going to keep this rolling, Kenny, and we're going to go with Benny On, who's, like I said, like this guy's top 5, so 45 to 1 there. Tom Kim, 60 to 1. This is all like really nice odds. Ryan Fox, 125 to 1. Charlie Hoffman, 160 to 1. If Charlie cashes at 160, we're splitting it by 5 ways. That's like 30 to 1 for a top 3 for Charlie Hoffman in Texas. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. KH Lee, he's the only guy with course history here that's like way down the board at 70 to 1. Jason Day, Jordan Spieth, Siwoo Kim, shorter than 20 to 1 on the odds board is, if you're betting that nonsense, I understand, the strokes gain total is amazing. We've only got 2 top 10s in the last 12 months from Siwoo. It's not where you want to go. So KH Lee, some nice returning value for a past double champ at this venue, 70 to 1. He's also been popping, getting a little bit of, he's not like this guy that constantly finishes inside the top 20s. I think he's had 2 top 10s in the last little while too. So you never know what the big sex he gets up to when he's back in TPC Craig Ranch.
All right.
And that's it for me.
All of mine are 8 places.
Okay.
I got Keith Mitchell, 30-1. Tom Kim, 35-1. Taylor Pendrith. No, I'm sorry. Jake Knapp, 66-1. Taylor Pendrith, 75-1. Andrew Novak, 80-1. Rico Hui, 140-1. Kevin Doherty, 160-1. So I probably can't add anything else. That's probably going to be it for me for the week. I might throw in Charlie Austin in there. I sort of like that. It's sort of like maybe like a 140 or a 120. I don't know what his 8 places each way number is. You know what? I think I do remember. I think it's 90, and that's why I didn't bet it. Yeah, it was just too low for him. I need like 120 from him to be able to put money on Charlie Hoffman.
It's still close though, Kenny. In Texas, man, that's very fair. You know.
Yeah.
Just to recap my top 40 bubble us bets for Byron's boys over here, we've got 4 guys for a top 40 parlay: Siwoo Kim, Adam Scott, Benny Ahn, and Bo Hassler. All 4 of them have top 40 percentages of 59% plus in this field.
All right. So anything else? No?
I'm never, ever going to say I'm going to DM people my stuff on this show ever again.
That was a mistake. How many of those did you give out last week?
I don't, like 100 plus. Like, I just didn't even, like, apologies if I just said boom to you. Like, I was just copying that as my like general message to everyone. Just spamming off this model to you guys. But I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Kenny did me dirty just retweeting it a million times to make sure you guys really saw it out there. I was doing it on the Twitter account.
I did it on purpose.
Yep. The hands we're gonna get there. My strong hands they're gonna get walked up here before the week, and we'll be right back in the saddle again. But I really appreciate all of you guys reaching out. If I didn't get to you and you retweeted it beforehand, please reach out to me. I'll try and take care of you in another way, one way or another. But there was just so many people I lost track of it eventually. It was too crazy. So never doing that again, unless it's a very important thing. But yeah,
maybe
a fun time being on the show.
Maybe we could do it for majors. Or you could just go to, what's your site?
Rotoballer.com. Use code Maniac. You can get it right there every week, baby.
Yeah, there you go. You can find me on Twitter or X at KendoVT. You can find my articles every week on GupsCorner.com. Use promo code Kenny. Save yourself 30% on a sub to Gups Corner. All right. So, Birdie Fest should be a fun event. Let's win some motherfucking money. DJ Nation.
I've been getting dirty money, Jordan Belfort. Stacking penny stocks while I'm flipping these birds. Sipping on Ciroc, trip 'em up with the words. I done popped the Molly and I think it's be my third. Jordan Belfort.
I yelled too much earlier, so there's no point in yelling right there.
You came in, woo, Kenny. God, you went from second gear into fourth, fifth quickly.
That shit makes me so fucking angry, dude.